In this video, we're going to make a little tree angel out of fondant and modelling paste. So we'll start with the wings so that they've got a bit longer to dry. Now I've just got some modelling and flour paste here which sets harder than normal fondant. So I'm going to roll it out a little bit, but you don't want it too thin. And I'm just going to use a round cutter to cut out 2 circles. Okay, and I'm just going to try and lengthen them just a little bit at one point for the wings. If you've got a teardrop shaped cutter, you might just want to use a teardrop shaped cutter, that's fine. And what I've got here is a mix of normal fondant and modelling paste, about half and half, just to firm up our normal fondant a little bit and make it easier for modelling. So we'll need this together. So I'm going to start with a ball. Then what I'm going to do is try and roll it. So I'm pushing my hands together at the bottom to roll it into a bit of a cone shape. And I'm just going to push that onto the table to try and flatten the bottom bit of it a little bit. It shouldn't have a very basic body, so it is only a simple figure, this one. And what we're going to do is just push down that little point on the top, because when we put a head on, the point won't support the weight of the head. So if we've got it like that, the head will just sit on there nicely. So we'll put the body to one side. And what we'll do is we'll work out how much we want for a head and arms. Let's see. So she can have quite a big head, I think. So maybe about that. And we're going to dye that to a flesh colour. So I'm just going to take a little bit off to keep for the arms. And I'm going to re-roll into a ball. Just check it's the right size for your body. And you can keep it round, or if you want you can change the shape. So I'm going to narrow it a little bit nearer the top of the head, so it's a little bit rounder at the bottom, thinner at the top. Again, just checking it still fits on your body. So I'm just going to attach it with a little bit of water, but you can use edible glue or royal icing, and we're just going to push it on there like that. Now it's going to be very basic as this one, so we won't add loads of features, but we'll give them a really tiny nose. So just roll a tiny bit of your fondant. I'm just going to put that in the middle of the face, just there like so. Hopefully you can see okay on the video. Now if you're worried about your head dropping off and it's not going to be eaten, you can just place a cocktail stick through it. Now if you're going to put a cocktail stick in, bear in mind that if you put the full thing in, it's going to stick out over the top of the head, so break it down so that it's not going to show. Push it in and then push your head back on like so. But you don't have to have a cocktail stick in. If you do put a cocktail stick in, make sure people are aware that it's in there. You don't want anybody choking on it. So we're going to go back to some white now. So we've just got a small amount of white fondant now for the eyes. I'm going to half that, see if we can get 2 balls of a similar size. It's always the tricky bit. Okay, what we're going to do is roll them into teardrop shapes and then flatten them a little bit, like so. And just make sure they're a similar size to each other. And we're just going to put a little bit of water on the face where we're going to stick them. And then we're going to put these onto the face. We'll put them sloping inwards a little bit. If you want them further apart, just move them apart a little bit wherever you think looks best. Okay, and we're just going to rose up her cheeks a little bit using a little bit of the Rainbow Dust in pink. And just using a dry brush, we're going to put that on the cheeks. You don't want too much on your brush, otherwise you'll find that it'll just go everywhere. And we're just going to paint onto the eyes. So we'll start with the black. It's just food colouring is this. This one that I've got is quite runny. Sometimes they are thicker than this. Just using a thin brush, I'm just going to paint it. Just put a bit of water in with that, it's a bit thick. You're just going to paint onto the top of your eyes. And you're just going to repeat with the other eye. Now we're going to take another colour, so I'm going to use a bit of blue. I'm just going to mix it in the lid with a tiny bit of water. And I'm just going to paint a little line just underneath that black line that we've put on. Same with the other one. And just face it to me so I can see what I'm doing for this one. So they've now got a bit of blue in their eyes. We can give them a couple of little eyebrows. You can give them brown or black, whatever colour you think's best. Just going to give them tiny little ones. And then what we'll do is, since it's a lady, we'll just give her a couple of little eyelashes. So we're going to take our flesh colour again, and we're just going to roll a ball to start with. Then what I'm going to do is roll it so that I'm left with a little ball at one end, which I'm going to squash a little bit, and then I'm going to cut that up here, and that's going to be one of our arms for our little fairy, our Christmas tree fairy. And we're just going to stick that on there, like so. Repeat for the other one. What we'll do now is, if your wings have firmed up a little bit, you might be able to push them into the back of the body. So you'll see I've made some slight indentations. You can always open those up a little bit and then try and slot a wing in there. Obviously if you let your wing dry a little bit longer, it'd be easier to push in. Mine are still a little bit wet. So I've created two indentations in the back, which I'll just fill in with a bit of water. You can use royal icing or edible glue if you want, and then we're just going to push the wings into there. If you don't use modelling paste for the wings, you'll find that they will just flop over rather than sticking in place. So I might need to widen this one a little bit. So she now has wings. Just be careful that when you put the wings in that you haven't pushed her out of position, so we'll just move her back like that. What we'll do is we'll let her rest a little bit before we add the hair. So we've got some more fondant mixed with a bit of modelling paste here, which we're going to use for her hair. So I'm just going to dust my work surface with some corn flour, and we're just going to roll this out. You don't want it really thin, have a little bit of thickness to it, so about that. Okay, and what I'm going to do is cut it down a little bit, and I'm going to work out how far round it comes to. So that's actually probably about right width-wise. I'm just going to cut them at a little bit more of a slant. And what I'm going to do is put some water to stick the hair onto the head. So we're going to put it on the back of the head. Don't want to put too much on, otherwise you'll find that your hair will just slip off rather than sticking. So we're going to start by putting the centre at the back to the length you want the hair to come. So I'm going to have it that length. If I do it any longer, it'll squash the wings. Okay, then we'll bring it round to the front. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're just going to pinch it up at the top like that. Don't know if you can see what I'm doing very well there. I'm going to cut that bit with some scissors. So I'm going to cut down there, like so, and then we're going to push that together, but it should create us a parting. Or you can just go down the parting again if you want with your modelling tool. Okay, so she's got quite simple hair. And what we're going to do now is we're going to give her like a bit of a headband. But we're going to do it in the same colour, and then we'll paint it up afterwards. So I'm going to start by rolling a long thin piece, which we will put around her head. So we'll just check it's long enough. Okay. I'm going to start by putting a little bit of water on the head where we want it to go, round to the front. So we'll start wrapping it round, like so, And then I'm going to have to wet the forehead a little bit where that's going to go to. And I'll just cut that extra bit off without cutting into the actual head itself. And we'll put that bit on there. And we'll just make a little star to cover up that join. So we'll roll this out again. And I've just got a cutter that I'm going to use for this. So I'm going to cut that out. Just going to put some water on there where I want the star to go. If I can pick up the star without squashing it, we're going to try and get it on there, like so. Okay, and we'll just push that on there. Obviously you can't see it too well because it's the same colour, but what I'm going to do is use some of the metallic edible paint. I will put links in the description box under the video to show you where I get all these things from. Okay, so we're going to put a little bit on the brush and we're just going to brush that onto our star like that. And all the way around too, on the little headband. You can use a different colour if you prefer, you can use a silver or a pearlized colour. We're just going to do that all the way around. Okay, so we've painted that all the way around. So that's our little basic angel figure, which looks nice to go on the top of a little Christmas cake. So have a go. Any questions, feel free to ask me below the video, or you might find sometimes I respond a little bit quicker if you do it via my Facebook page, which you should be able to find a link for at the end of the video. Thank you for watching.
If you liked this video and would like to see more, please click on the images of the other videos suggested. Also, please do subscribe to my channel using the button at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You can also visit my cake website and my Facebook page to see more cakes and ideas.